Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, August 3, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we have numerous tropical waves across the main development region of the Atlantic. And we have a tropical wave that's about to make its way into portions of the Windward and Leeward Islands to bring some amount of rainfall there tonight into tomorrow. If we take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with those tropical waves 1, 2, and 3, with the one closest to Africa looking quite robust, maybe even having some spin in there. And maybe the US National Hurricane Center is going to have to tag that system very soon, maybe a code yellow or even a code orange. So we can see some amount of cloud cover coming into sections of the Eastern Caribbean, the Lesser Antilles, to bring some rainfall across those areas tonight into tomorrow. You can also see lots of afternoon convection that developed across portions of Central America, Cuba, and Hispaniola, not to mention sections of Jamaica today. We can also see a lot of cloud cover across portions of the southeastern United States, lots of thunderstorms taking place at this time, as well as portions of southern Florida. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated they would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica, even portions of eastern Jamaica as well. And with the wind shear coming in from the northwest, we would have seen more of that overcast skies across portions of some southern parishes in Jamaica, even bring more of the rainfall into the southern parishes. And what ended up happening? A post was made on our Twitter page and Instagram page and Facebook and TikTok pages. If you guys aren't following our other social media pages, whether Jamaica, then you need to do so right now. YouTube is not the only platform that we use, and we even post more content on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok than what we post on our YouTube pages. So a post was made on our Twitter page at 1:55 p.m. highlighting some clouds bring some thunderstorms. We see those sparkling white dots right there across portions of eastern St. Catherine and portions of Kingston and St. Andrew, and that indicated some amount of afternoon convection. And we saw that when those high cold cloud tops developed, they were being streaked off and pushed off towards the southeast, maybe bringing some overcast skies to sections of St. Thomas. And we even had confirmation from our commenters on our Twitter and Instagram pages, Massa stating pure thunder and no rain. And if we actually look at our Instagram page, we can see the actual comments for the rain. Charlotte Everblessed stating loving the rain. Little bit of Indian finally to Rastaja. Me I go out there right now, go walk up and down in it. Then another commenter, Wifey Material 28 stating rain for days in above rocks. Then 1876 base stating very light rain in Kingston can hardly wet a rag. Kingston salt bath. But we did indeed have that rainfall. And then as the afternoon progressed, another post was made at 3:45 p.m. highlighting the same clouds. We saw that it started right there across portion of Kingston and St. Andrew. Then it spread to the central and western portions of the island, especially inland areas of some central parishes, so northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, southern St. Anne, southern Trelawney, and especially portions of Manchester, northern Manchester that is, and portions of St. Elizabeth. We even saw lots of lightning flashes. Look at all those sparkling white dots right there across portions of St. Elizabeth. So they indeed gotten on a quite a bit of a lightning storm today. Lots of thunderstorms taking place. And we even have one more commenter commenting, well, me can't complain. Rainfall and me did go take a walk in it. If me sick, I don't know why. And if we even take a look at the visible satellite images today before the sun went down, we can see we had those cumulus clouds that developed into the cumulonimbus clouds, and then they made their way westward and even affected portions of Westmoreland. Not so much across northern Jamaica, Hanover, St. James today. it was mainly across the southern parishes. And we see that better on the infrared satellite images right there. So definitely got in on some afternoon convection across sections of especially eastern Westmoreland. And if we actually take a look at the temperatures for tonight, we can say we have 82 degrees Fahrenheit for both Montego Bay and Kingston. That's about the equivalent of 27.7 degrees Celsius, almost close to 28 degrees Celsius. And as usual, as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. As it relates to the temperature forecast, however, for tomorrow, we can see that for the most part, on both the Euro and the GFS malls for 18Z on Friday, Jamaica is embedded in some yellows or slight orange shades that indicate at least 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. I know that average temperatures for the month of August in Jamaica is about 91 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 32.7 degrees Celsius. So if we should be receiving up to 2 degrees Celsius above average temperatures for tomorrow, we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius at most. As relates to the dry air, we can see that the most dry air is represented by the reds and the whites within those reds, and that is located right there off the northwestern coast of Africa. While we have some amount of dry air to the south of Jamaica, as indicated by those yellows and orange shades. Not much happening across Jamaica at this time, lots of moist air, which is why we're getting some amount of afternoon convection these days, and we're definitely going to be getting in on some more tomorrow. Even on the Saharan dust forecast, we can see a lot of moist air, a little bit of browns or light sandy shades right there across the southern and western Caribbean associated with the Sahara Desert. Well, we can see the darker brown shades right there across the northern portion of the main development region, and right there off the coast of Africa, lots of Saharan dust out there. And we know that it's going to be staying the same. We're actually out of the woods right now as it relates to the huge plumes of dust that we usually receive, and we are grateful for that. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are forecasting that for 12 p.m. on Friday, Jamaica should be surrounded by some light blues, and that's indicative of at least zero point 0.5 to 0.5 of a meter to 1 meter wave height. And we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls, and that's due to the fact that the winds will be coming in from the east and they won't be that strong. More up to 15 knot winds coming in from the east, and as usual, wherever that ear piles up, wherever we have those blue shades, that's where we're going to be having that afternoon convection. So we might just see a repeat of what happened today with more of that convection across sections of some central and western parishes. And the wind shear seems to be coming in from the southeast for tomorrow on both the Euro and the GFS. So whatever afternoon convection that takes place, all of that diurnal convection, all of that daytime heating contributing to some cumulus clouds becoming some cumulonimbus clouds or some thunder clouds. All of that is going to be blown off towards the northwest, bringing more overcast skies and possibly some of the rainfall spilling into sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. So maybe the overcast skies, especially across sections of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover. But with the lower level winds pushing the low level clouds off towards the south, we might get that thunderstorms across sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica, with the northern parishes in Jamaica getting that overcast skies. So, just like what we said earlier, we saw that the upper level wind shear coming in today blew all of the high cold cloud tops off towards the south. Tomorrow it's going to be the opposite. The high cold cloud tops are going to be blown off towards the north with more of the thunderstorms across some southern parishes in Jamaica. So maybe Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. And we even see that on the precipitation forecast. Look at this. Precipitation forecast showing blues and even greens that represent some amount of rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes, even sections of some eastern parishes getting in on that rainfall as well. Maybe sections of St. Andrew, Kingston right there. And that's valid for around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And we see the consensus right there, especially across sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, where we see those darker blues and greens as well. So we might even get in on some isolated flash flooding taking place in some spots of the island for tomorrow. So get yourself ready for that rainfall. And we even see that being predicted on the accumulated precipitation forecast Look at the Euro model showing more of that rainfall across sections of St. Catherine, Kingston, and St. Andrew, up to 0.74 of an inch of rainfall on the Euro. Keep in mind that both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on a Friday. GFS not showing so much across Kingston and St. Andrew, but it's definitely there. We see more of the rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. Up to 0.61 of an inch of rainfall is being predicted. So we're definitely going to be getting in on some rainfall, and we're grateful for that, considering that we're in the month of August. And we usually receive up to at least 5 inches of rainfall in Montego Bay and close to 100 millimeters of rainfall in Kingston. So hopefully it kind of puts somewhat of a dent in the hydrological drought that we're experiencing across the island that's causing the National Water Commission to be, imposing restrictions in some areas. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some activities taking place across sections of Central America, Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, sections of Southern Florida, the southeastern United States, and we definitely are going to be getting in on some rainfall tonight into tomorrow across sections of the eastern Caribbean. We can see some cloud cover and rainfall across sections of Guyana and Venezuela as well. And if we even take a look at the Doppler radar images, Doppler radar images show the actual rainfall as opposed to satellite images that show cloud cover, and we can have cloud cover over an area, not necessarily rainfall. And we saw that we had that rainfall across sections of Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, and even sections of Martinique as well. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see that we have some amount of rainfall coming in from the tropical wave to sections of Guadeloupe, Martinique, Dominica, sections of St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, even section of Tobago getting in on some rainfall. Not so much rainfall across sections of Trinidad, but maybe later on tonight. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some amount of rainfall across sections of southern Florida associated with that afternoon convection that they got. Sections of Mexico, Guatemala, sections of Honduras, sections of Belize. You can also see some rainfall right now across sections of northern Venezuela, northwestern Venezuela, that is. And that rainfall that we just mentioned across sections of the eastern Caribbean. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we're going to be having average temperatures to slightly above average temperatures, stretching all the way from the eastern Caribbean to the Gulf of Mexico, with some very above normal temperatures across sections of the southern United States. And we see that on both the Euro and the JFS malls. I know that when we have consensus like this, the chance of actual happening are much higher. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that the Caribbean is going to be receiving up to at least 1.5-meter wave heights, with less than a meter wave heights across portions of the Western Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. And we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls, and that's due to the fact that we're going to be having the least amount of winds across the Western Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico right there, as indicated by those blue shades, with more of the wind taking place across the central and eastern Caribbean, even up to 20 knot wind. And we see that on both the Euro and the JFS malls. I know that when we have consensus like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so if we actually take a look at the precipitation forecast now, you know that both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday, and we do indeed see some rainfall in store for sections of Florida, the Bahamas, sections of Cuba, sections of Jamaica, Hispaniola, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of the northeastern Caribbean. Right there, as indicated by those green shades, we know the more colorful this map gets, the more rainfall is expected, with the least amount of rainfall in green, then in yellows, and so forth. So we definitely have some amount of rainfall to receive across sections of Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, sections of eastern Trinidad, sections of Tobago, not so much for Grenada on the Euro and the GFS malls. But we do see some rainfall for sections of Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, sections of Colombia, sections of Panama, Costa Rica, sections of Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize especially. Even some reds up in there in portions of Belize. Maybe some isolated flash flooding could take place in some spots. And we see some of that rainfall into sections of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico as well. And we see that both maps are showing somewhat similar conditions, and we know that when they're doing this, chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for